Today, we're looking at 1 Samuel 4, verses 12 through 22. To catch everybody up, we need to look at what happened in the first part of 1 Samuel 4. The Israelites had a battle with the Philistines, and they lost. And instead of repenting and asking God to come and help them in this battle, they decided to take the Ark of the Covenant and that it would save them. Instead of winning the battle, it was an utter defeat. 30,000 men died. The sons of Eli, the high priest, Hophni and Phinehas, they both died by the sword, which was a fulfillment of prophecy. And the Ark of the Covenant was captured by the Philistines, and they took it away. And that's where we are as we turn to 1 Samuel 4, verse 12. Let's read verse 12. It says, "A man of Benjamin ran from the battle line and came to Shiloh the same day with his clothes torn and with dirt on his head." So this man from Benjamin is coming to deliver the news. That's how they found out. They didn't have TV and phones that would tell us what was going on. He's coming from the battle in Ebenezer to Shiloh. Shiloh at this point, this is after they've entered the promised land, but before the religious center is in Jerusalem under King David. And so right now the religious center is in Shiloh, and that's where the Ark of the Covenant was kept. And so he's coming back to tell the news. At this point in Israel's history, there is no king. That will happen later on. Instead, the rulers are the leaders of the people, and especially the high priest and the judge, which happens to be Eli. Eli is both judge and high priest. So this man of Benjamin comes to Shiloh, and as he's coming, his clothes are torn and there's dirt on his head. And that's a sign of mourning, of grief. Even as the people watch and see this man running towards them, they can see the signs of his grief and that this is bad news that he's bringing. Verse 13. When he arrived, Eli was sitting on a seat by the road watching, for his heart trembled for the ark of God. And when the man came into the city and told the news, all the city cried out. So Eli is sitting by the road watching, but we're going to find out he's basically blind, or he is blind. And so he's watching, he's listening, he's paying attention to what's coming, and he's waiting for the news. And it says his heart trembled for the ark of God. Now his two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, are also in the battle, but he's not trembling for them. He is the high priest, and he somehow allowed the ark of God to be taken into the battle. And obviously he knew that was a bad idea, and he's concerned about the ark of God. Let's look at verse 14. When Eli heard the sound of the outcry, he said, "What is this uproar?" Then the man hurried and came and told Eli. So this messenger is going straight to Eli. He's the leader. Now Eli was 98 years old, and his eyes were set so that he could not see. Verse 16. And the man said to Eli, "I am he who has come from the battle. I fled from the battle today." Now pay attention. He's telling who he is, because some man walks up to Eli. Eli can't see him and probably doesn't know who he is. And he says, "I'm the man who came from the battle to tell the news." And he says, "I fled from the battle today." That word fled is not good news. And he said, so this is Eli, "How did it go, my son?" Continuing on verse 17. He who brought the news answered and said, now I want you to pay attention. There's going to be 4 things that happen, and each one of them is worse than the one before it. It says, Israel has fled before the Philistines. Again, that word fled. They fled. They lost the battle. And there has also been a great defeat among the people. We know that 30,000 men had died in that second battle. Your 2 sons also, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead. Horrible news. His sons are dead, but most of all, his heart had been trembling about the ark of God. And it says, and the ark of God has been captured. Verse 18. As soon as he mentioned the ark of God, Eli fell over backward from his seat by the side of the gate, and his neck was broken, and he died. For the man was old and heavy. He had judged Israel 40 years. So again, we have those 4 things that happened, but it was the last one, that the ark of God had been captured, that caused Eli to fall over backward, break his neck, and die. Now, the ark of God was really important in this time in Israel's history. It represented the very presence of God. This ark was the most important thing that the Israelites had, and it represented God and his presence, but it wasn't God. That's where they were mistaken, thinking they could take it into battle and that God would just deliver them because they had this thing, instead of actually turning to God. Now let's continue to see what else happens after this news is delivered. Verse 19. Now his daughter-in-law, that's Eli's daughter-in-law, the wife of Phinehas, was pregnant, about to give birth. And when she heard the news, the ark of God was captured, and that her father in law and her husband were dead, she bowed and gave birth, for her pains came upon her. So, this news, especially the news that the ark of God had been captured, caused her to go into labor, and she had her child. Verse 20, and about the time of her death, the women attending her said to her, "Do not be afraid, for you have borne a son." But she did not answer or pay attention. Verse 21, and she named the child Ichabod, saying, "The glory has departed from Israel, because the ark of God has been captured, and because of her father in law and her husband." And she said, "The glory has departed from Israel, for the ark of God has been captured." Now, Ichabod, her son's name, means either no glory or where's the glory. So her grief is primarily about the ark being captured. And she believed that because the ark of God had been captured, the glory had also departed from Israel. What a sad end to this chapter. Israel's been defeated, Eli and his sons are dead, and the ark of God has been captured. It seems like the glory has departed from Israel. But the story isn't over. Israel thinks everything is lost, but God is about to show everyone that he is still God. If you'd like background on how the ark is captured, you can watch my video here. I'll also leave a link down below. And if you've never read 1 Samuel 5, I encourage you to go ahead and read it because it's a great picture of who God really is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.